Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. I'm bringing a brother on today, Denver Donald, who spent a lot of time in state prison, spent a bunch of time in federal prison, been in some dangerous places like USP Canaan, USP McCreary. But I think it's better for him to tell you who he is, where he's from, and talk a little bit about his situation.
Well, my name is Denver Donald. I'm from Illinois and Missouri, both sides, did time in both states, and got 7 years in Missouri for a half ounce of weed in different bags. Did 5 years on that total. Grew up pretty much playing basketball, being normal, and started smoking weed, and thought I'd be cool to start selling it a little bit, and they didn't think so down here in the country, and that's what sent me to prison the first time. That's what basically taught me how to be a criminal. So everything in Missouri at that time was methamphetamine, so they was teaching, and everybody in there was for it. So that's what you learned about, regardless if you wanted to or not. So everybody's thing. So,
They give you that big old sentence for a little bit of weed, huh?
Yep, 7 years, and I did 28 months on it to start. That's what the minimum, which was 30% back then on a beat, because it's 5 to 15. It's classified in the same area as heroin, cocaine, all that stuff. So it's kind of strange. But other than that, got out, learned all about dope, and messed with it 12 weeks, and was buying pills back in 2004, and just going from Walgreens to Walgreens. The feds were watching it. They pulled us over. All four of us got hit with the same 29 boxes, and they gave me 130 months because I had 3 prior felonies and 4 misdemeanors, and it sent me off the chart on the guidelines. And I was in category 6, 130 to 162 months. And if I didn't take it the way they wanted to give it to me, I was getting 151 to 188. So there it was.
If you went to trial, they'd have really blasted you probably, right?
20. It's a maximum for just possession of pseudoephedrine, you know. So they didn't care that I had nothing else. They're just saying the charge reads possession of pseudoephedrine with a knowing intent that it would be used to manufacture. Can't beat that.
So tell me about the first prison you go to, federal prison. You end up in federal prison. What's the prison you land at?
Forest City, Arkansas. And it was popping, alcohol everywhere, weed everywhere, the good times, as we would say. And then we got outlaw in from Beaumont, who had just shut down Beaumont. They actually shut it down, the whole prison, after he left, because he was such a chaotic warden. He was AW there. He came there and became warden, started taking stuff away, and just turned it into a different prison. And guy got killed 2 months after I was there. The Aztecs and the Texas guys were running off the Tongos, and punched him one time and hit him right, and he fell and he died. So he got 15 years for that.
The Tango Blast dude died, you said, right?
Yep. Yeah, and there was several. They were always smashing pice off the yard. You hardly ever saw a pice get smashed in Canaan, because they never walked. Well, they walked the yard there. I was saying at McCreary, you never saw no pice get smashed because they never hit the yard. Down at Forest City, you get dumb pice that walk on the yard, and they didn't know the system, so they're just walking on the yard, and they're like, "Hey, are you a pice?" And they're like, "Yeah," and they're getting smashed. So they think it just means peasant or something, you know. So they did. They smashed plenty there. They had a softball field. They had a big riot out there, sliding into second base, and Mexican slid into a black dude. They square off. They're fighting, and 2 Mexicans jump on the black dude, and then they separate, and then they start grouping up. Of course, the Mexicans are over under the bleachers pulling their little string to pull up a whole bunch of knives. So about that time, the softball coach, he's walking off with the bats, and the blacks try to take the softball bats from him, and then the Mexicans jump in and take the bats, and then everybody starts fighting, and you got bats, knives, basically all the black dudes ran to the far corners of the yard because they didn't have any knives, and the Mexicans did. So the guards are chaining everything up, and they had a full scale riot all the way through all the yards. Another black dude picked up a dolly and was breaking arms. He broke a couple Mexicans' arms with it. And then they stuck the bat into the chain, where they lock the gates. He stuck the bat in there, and they started twisting it because they were talking shit on the other side of the fence. They took that bat and broke that lock off and used them bats. It was bad.
Yeah. I mean, was that shocking for you to be in a federal prison and see something like that going on?
Man, I was in the hole. I didn't even see that. I got the play-by-play from all the homeboys. I was in the hole over wine at the time, and I didn't even get to see that. So I got that was a story. I didn't even get to see that. That actually happened like in 2008.
You ever have any altercations yourself over there at that prison?
Oh yeah, well, when I first got there, I got into it with AC dude, and over the basketball court, we were playing basketball, and we called each other a bitch. And then I didn't realize it, but he went and got 2 or 3 of his homeboys, and we went in the bathroom, and they jumped on me, but he was the only one who hit me. So I hit the floor, I slipped, and I just balled up. They wasn't trying to do nothing. They didn't even hurt me. And then they walked out because that's how they are. And then I went to my unit, and I told their top dude, Bruiser, I said, I want to fight that dude. I said, in the cell now. I said, now. I had my homeboys out there then. We're going to get it. And they didn't want to fight then. So
well, let me ask
you a small altercation.
Let me ask you about the warden. When the warden came there, he was known as a real asshole. Did he start reorganizing the place, the kitchen and tables?
This is what he did. He came from Beaumont, and that's the backstory on it. And he was taking stuff from them and caused all kinds of problems. So he come there. First thing he takes is that we're drinking on the yard, so no more water jugs on the yard. If you can't see through the water jug, you can't take it out there. Well, that eliminates, everybody's shit. So for water jugs, the good ones, and no bags. You can't take no bags to the yard. And so now you got to carry everything. You can't even take a laundry bag with your stuff in it to go to the yard. And commissary, taking stuff off commissary. Eventually took all the sugar off commissary. That's really what screwed us, because it used to be, a 10-minute window, and then they closed it down to 5-minute outbound and then 5-minute inbound, and that screwed everything up. So just a lot of different things that make your life harder.
About the kitchen, did he start reorganizing the tables in the kitchen?
That's right. Well, that caused the riot, and that caused personally with me, this is what happened. Warden comes in. This is the backstory to that, and that was the blacks were charging some of their own to sit down to eat. So they called all the shot callers up there because there were some people complaining about being able to sit down and eat, and they didn't have nowhere to sit down and eat. So the warden says, "Get it right, fellas. Give these people a place to sit." Well, about 3-4 months go by, and they keep complaining, and because they're making these dudes pay to sit down over there. And that's whenever he rearranges the whole chow hall. We all walk in. The Mexicans end up taking 3 more tables than they had over these Tongo dudes, basically. They were fake Tongos. And they tried to take 3 of our tables as a result. And we had our set amount of tables, and we knew it. And I went in, got in line, came around, sat at those tables. They had 6 Mexicans sitting at their tables, 2 on the other side of me, and me and my homeboy sat down across from each other. And they said, "You're sitting at our table." And I said, "No, absolutely not. There are tables, and I'll see you out on the yard." So I finished my burger, got up. As soon as I got up, all of them got up, and then all the white dudes got up. And then we emptied the chow hall in 30 seconds. They couldn't shut the doors. They were screaming, yelling. All the staff was there because at lunchtime, all the women are there from all the departments. So they was really freaking out because they'd never seen a full-scale 300 people line up right out in front, and they can't shut the doors. And they're videoing it. They got the video cameras out there, and they had just let 2 units out. So every Mexican in those 2 units was coming. So, and not so many whites, but it is a medium. And they locked down for, I think, 10 or 11 days and shipped 30 people. So, and that was it. They let us off.
You end up leaving Forest City. Where do you go after that?
I left Forest City on I punched a guy in the mouth over. He went home and sold the radio to 3 different people, and one of them was my homeboy. He came back on a probation violation. So I hit him in the mouth over it, and a damn cop seen me from 100 yards away through a window and come running over there, man. And they gave me an assault over that shit because he didn't fight back. It was crazy. And I had 6 wine shots, and that's what sent me on. And I was constantly making wine. They just was tired of me, and I wasn't gonna quit. So, yeah.
So where do you go?
McCreary. Go ahead.
I said, where do you go after that? You go to McCreary?
Yep. So I get to McCreary. It's a different place for sure. We got about 30 Missouri guys there. So, and I had one guy that was in Forest City with me that showed up there, and he was a really good dude. So he paved the way for me. I didn't have any problems getting there. My paperwork was good, so I had all that shit anyway. So it was just a different yard, though. Everybody there, it was an independent yard at the time, and which meant that basically they weren't saying they were running off gang members because there was a couple gang members on the yard, but they were like low profile, hiding, and weren't causing any problems at all, I guess, because everyone that came on the yard, they were smashing them. And this, about 18 months before I got there, that's whenever a SAC dude there, train wreck, you know him? He, I guess they jumped on him because he was trying to push up on a white dude, take his shit. So they go in there and they stab him, and they all got butchered. Everybody did. It was actually, everybody got hit, and they end up taking the gang members off the yard. So after that, they just started, if they didn't like them, they'd make up an excuse to hit them. And that's what happened my first week there. They hit an NLR there, dude, that I ended up with in Canaan. They could have caused me a real problem. But it didn't, because I'm honest, and I stuck up for gang members there because I told them what they were doing was wrong. You can't smash fucking good white dudes off the yard for no reason. That's bullshit, because you're scared of them.
So now you end up going back to a medium, right? Where do you go after that? Cumberland?
Yep, RDAP program, because I'm already short, so they sent me over there, and it wasn't gonna work out. It was too, I guess what you want to say, a liberal yard. It's 800 Baltimore and DC, and no white dudes was standing on nothing. So I was there about 4 or 5 months. That's including the transfer. I wasn't on the yard very long, and got into it over the chow hall table. Got in a fight in the chow hall, and they shipped me back to Canaan. So I showed up at Canaan, and right when the cop come off lockdown, we came off lockdown. We were still on lockdown.
That was right after the cop got killed?
Yep. And I didn't think it was as bad as it was going to be. When I was sitting in Maryland, I thought it was going to be horrible. I was thinking, my God, I'm going to the hottest spot in the BOP where we ain't got nothing coming. Man, we got there. McCreary was so bad, Chad, that, man, the moves were better. The whole prison was better at Canaan. I mean, even after that happening, the whole prison was better. McCreary's not the place to be.
Was Canaan a dangerous place, though? I mean, did some things happen while you were there?
Yes. Yeah. I guess I'm glossing it over a little bit. Yeah, there was a lot of people that got stabbed while I was there. Blacks, whites, Mexicans. For example, my homeboy Lumpy, who was a dirty white boy, one of the few good ones. He's coming up the steps over there. I've been there about 6 months, and Mexicans were working out close to his cell, and I guess they'd had words before. man, they had the wrong words that day, because immediately they start fighting, and it turned into a full scale riot, and none of the white dudes had any knives, and they had little pokers. So he's fighting, and about 3 or 4 white dudes get stabbed, and they locked down the unit. So none of us. That's how they started doing it. They just locked down the unit and not let nobody out, and that's how they keep the information in there, so we don't know what's going on. And as a result of that, it got squashed, because it was basically an NLR, their yard, and they're in, they work hand in hand with those dudes, so that's how that works. And it was they kind of blamed the white dudes over it. They kind of got the fault over it. So I guess there was a lot of people that was unhappy with that decision.
I'm sure. I mean, you were over in Canaan, so they had a couple big homies over there, Mexican mafia dudes, probably when you were there, right?
George and Gato. Yeah, they were good. They're both good dudes. I mean, they're both about business.
Did you know them? Did you know any of them? Did you know either one of them personally? Live in a unit with any of them?
I was in the unit with Gato. Yeah, I didn't really talk to him ever personally. I had no reason to. But I watched him. I mean, you're watching people all the time, so I mean that's what I do. People watch, so you just watch how people operate and how they do things, and it's interesting, because he's an old man, and he's running their show, and it's just like anything else in prison: gambling, money, all money to be made. We're all there. There's an economy.
People,
so they want to get every bit they can.
Were people intimidated, respectful to them dudes in there? Because I talked about them in my top 5 video I did the other day, and some people. Hold on. Let me finish. The other day, some people, chimed in. They're like, "Hey, man, the DC dudes, what about them?" And I was just like, "Look, dude, the DC dudes don't, they just do their own thing. They kind of like have their own problems within. They're not out here like just, viciously stabbing people, really beefing with other cars, that type of thing." So go ahead and say what you were going to say, and I apologize for interrupting.
Minor example of small disrespect. A guy in my unit, he was sitting there. He worked out in my workout car. He's from Michigan, a retard, really. And he owed one of the dudes over there in Serrano's 3 books for a Suboxone. Nothing. And he's sitting there eating food, and I get, looking like he had some money, and dude mentioned it to him, said something about having that money he owed him, and dude said he'd pay him when he paid him. Well, he's the damn enforcer for them. He wasn't just some foot soldier. That was the number one below him. And he said it immediately escalated. And thank God that we had a guy named Lip in there with us. I don't know if you've heard of him and his brother, Lippet Brothers, but they were out in California and stuff. But anyway, he's odd because he's half Mexican. His brother's full white, but he's half Mexican, and he speaks fluent Spanish, and he fucks with them dudes. He's from California, so immediately he's on it. You know what I mean? He's mediating, which is awesome. Because none of the white dudes in there was ready. I was in the cell, and dude got me, and he said, "Man, you need to get out here now." And I, all right, here we go. And I mean, all the Paisa were lined up on the wall. Their dudes were lined up. I walk out into that situation, and I find out what it's about. And then he squashes it. He gets it taken care of, and he probably just paid the debt. Be done with it. And you probably owed him. But yeah, that was that was the only time that we ever had any lineup right then and there. But it happened all in about 30 seconds.
So, did you keep a knife on you in Canaan?
I never made one knife ever, and I never carried one.
Did you have access to one?
Oh yeah, but that wasn't I told those dudes, and I had discrepancies with guys. I mean, I'm 6'3". I was like 210 then, and I mean, I'm benching probably around 340, 350 in prison. So. And I'm a good athlete. So, I mean, if I needed a weapon, I had a lock on a belt or something. But for real, most of those dudes in there, I wasn't really intimidated with them with a knife. If those people I was intimidated that had a knife, I would have went and got one if I absolutely needed it. You know what I mean?
Sometimes people say you don't need a knife until you got one, right? But I don't really believe that, man, because in federal prison, like I did a video, about 3 weeks ago, where the kid got stabbed in Pollock for no reason. Bubba Sparks, not the rapper, a kid that had the same last name.
Right.
So
you're right.
You can end up stabbing there for no reason, bro.
But honestly, I never made one and never carried one, and some dudes were, thought I should, and I said, motherfucker, I keep myself in the apex of training myself. If you want to go in here and grapple with me, let's grapple. I said, man, I could snatch a hold of a dude, and it's not. I'm gonna beat the shit out of it. I mean, you need a knife in situations, but they couldn't argue with the fact that I was keeping myself. Because I didn't carry that, I was a soldier. I'm a Spartan. I'm there on the line.
You ever see anything in prison that shocked you, man, where you were like, wow, man? Anything that was just like devastating?
Well, when I got to McCreary, first couple of days I was there, 2 Mexicans jumped on a black, and he was just kind of some outcast black that just got there, and he happened to go into a cell that they wanted. So it was a black dude and a Puerto Rican dude. They I guess they stabbed him a little. They had a knife. They didn't really do too much damage with that, but they both had locks on belts, and they hit him when he got on the phone, and they come up and he doubled over, and he laid out, and they just hit him with locks for about 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half. And the cop was out on the Sally Port, and then they quit hitting him. That was pretty brutal. I had seen some of that in Forest City, though, them beat a guy with locks until the cops made him stop, which was like forever. So they quit hitting him in the head, though. They started hitting him all in the body. He was knocked out already. But yeah,
was federal prison a little different than what you expected before you got there? Like, in your mind, did you think, man, federal prison's a lot better? You're serving time in the state. When we go to federal prison, it's so much better. Were you thinking that?
Personally, I like the challenge. So I came from state prison where there was zero respect. You had TVs, you had all that, but none of that means anything to me. I liked having better hustle, and there was no hustle in the state for anybody unless you wanted drugs, and there was just nothing. When I got to the feds, there was more structure, more respect, and I liked it better. I liked the feds better. And then once I went to the medium, to the USP, once I got to Canaan, I would have rather been in, if you're in a good structured USP where you got a lot of good dudes that keep the balance of power real good, you don't have as many problems. So where you was at, you had all kinds of chaos, chaos. Makes a difference. Who's at your place, You got a bunch of retards running around fueling dope habits, you're going to have a lot of problems.
So let me ask you this, right? You're home now, you're free. How's it feel to be free, man?
I've been home 6 years. I had 3 kids in 4 years, and bought my place here with 3 acres, built a house, built a barn, got 12 goats, chickens, duck, 3 German shepherds, and kids run wild. I live 60 miles from a Walmart, so it's heaven. My bills are almost non-existent since I paid for my place and built my place as I went. And I used it with materials I got off Craigslist. I get cheaper building materials. And I live around a bunch of sawmills, so I got basically all the rough cut lumber to build my 3,800 square foot barn for free.
So you're living the dream, man.
It can be done out here. People think that, out where you're at, it's a lot harder because that land's not available. It's hard when you can't get your hands on land that's cheap enough and readily. How much does an acre of ground go for out there if you get it?
Man, it depends on where you're at, bro. Honestly, I don't even know the prices off the top of my head, but there are places. I'll shoot you some pictures. You'll see what my neighborhood looks like.
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk. I want to talk about what you're doing now, though, man. You got a son?
I got a son. He turned 4 yesterday. I got Construction LLC, and I do odd work around here. I got family that owns different businesses, and I do work for them. And daughter, Eva Dresden, is 4, and Emma, 6.
So
And,
let me ask you about your son, man. How's it feel to be a dad, man? To be like, man, this is my little guy, man. How's that feel?
Well, I waited all that time to do it. Didn't have no kids before then, so I was fully prepared and ready to execute being the best dad ever.
That's what's up. You sent me some pictures. You sent me a video. I think you were throwing your son into the water. You got like a little water back there by your house or something, right?
Yeah, that's Upper Logan Creek. That's all within a mile of that waterfall. I can look out my window right now. That's over there. All that's within a mile of where I'm sitting. So it's all clear, spring-fed water out here. It's perfect. Right behind Doe Run Mines. But it's nice. It's perfect. Right in the heartland. No crime.
Would you agree that would you agree that there's nothing worth losing your freedom over, or losing the opportunity to be a father to your son, to your daughters?
No. I mean, not in the sense of making stupid mistakes for selfish reasons. You know what I mean? I mean, I've considered myself as a kid when I made the decisions I did. I was selfish, greedy, really a babe in the woods. I really just didn't. I wasn't a criminal. I played basketball from the time I was 9 till I quit high school, and my dad expected me to play for the Fighting Illini. So, I was supposed to go, and that's why in prison I played basketball in leagues the whole time. I'm the only white guy out there, and I'm slamming. I'm dunking. I can dunk flat-footed, being almost 6'4", but still, I mean, they weren't doing that, and they didn't want to get dunked on by me. Hey, that was all. That was their dudes to drive the shit out of them.
One thing I liked to do, man, when I was in prison, I used to go watch them basketball games, bro. It was something that I enjoyed, man.
I love it. There at Canaan, they wanted to take the court from us one time, and we ran the court. They come over and got next, and me and my 2 dudes got on there, and hell, I was like Larry Bird. I couldn't miss a shot for 3 games, and their main guy, he kept coming back on the court, and he was just a bruiser. He was the biggest black dude I ever seen, bowling huge. All he wanted to do was Anthony Mason me, just beat the hell out of me. Charles Oakley,
Charles Oakley, man. New York Knicks. Let me, before I close the show, I want to know, is there anything you want to say before we close? I'm going to get ready to close the show, but definitely appreciate you coming on, man.
A lot of information out there. In prison, I used every day I could to learn. I read books on everything. Ancient civilizations, humanity, you name it. I mean, I read it. If I could read it, and all that's helped me now. And man, it's people out there just need to know drugs ain't worth it. They ain't worth it. You can put your mind to anything you want, anything the mind can conceive and believe the mind can achieve. That's Napoleon Hill. That's the oldest trick in the book, man. And you could be the best you can be at anything you want to be. Just decide you want to be it and figure out your blueprint for success and go for it. Make the plan, execute it, and the universe will provide.
No doubt, man. I appreciate that, man. And again, I appreciate you coming on the show. We're gonna stay in contact, man. I think you're a pretty good dude, man. And I respect the fact that you're home, you're free, taking care of your kids, man. And that's what's up, man. That's what matters, bro. Being a father, man. Being a real father, being a real leader, being someone that your kids can look up to, protecting your kids, keeping them safe, and just molding them, man. So I respect you, man, for being a father, man.
All right, man.
All right. I'm gonna close the show, man. Blood on the Razor Wire TV with respect. Until tomorrow, we're out.